All right, battleground, a showdown. President Obama and Mitt Romney both converging on Ohio right now to deliver dueling speeches on the economy. They may be far apart when it comes to their economic plans, but today they are less than 250 miles apart on the campaign trail. Romney will be speaking momentarily in Cincinnati, while President Barack Obama will be speaking just minutes from now in Cleveland. You're looking at the live picture there in Cincinnati, where momentarily Mitt Romney will be taking to the podium there. And then we understand the president, not long from now, departing from the airport in Cleveland, will be making his way to Cuyahoga Community College. And the original plan was both would be speaking at roughly 1:45 Eastern time. But then we got word from the Romney camp that perhaps his might be about 6 or 8 minutes before the president, so as not to have the literal dueling speeches. But now, just looking at the clock at 1:36 Eastern time, the two just might be taken to the podiums in their respective places roughly at the same time. It'll be a challenge for us as well, because we know that you want to be able to see both the president and the Republican challenger talking about the economy there in the battleground state of Ohio. When both or either arrive, you'll be seeing it as we do. All right, meantime, President Obama is raking in some campaign cash tonight. After his speech in Ohio next hour, or this hour, we should say, in just a few minutes, the president will be heading to New York. He'll attend a fundraiser at the home of Sex and the City star Sarah Jessica Parker. Some are calling it Checks and the City. Parker is hosting the fundraiser along with Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine. All right, and Wall Street is putting its money behind Republican challenger Mitt Romney. And right on cue, let's take you now to Cincinnati, where you're seeing Mitt Romney has just taken to the stage there. Let's listen in on his idea of his view of the economy for the United States.
Thank you, Ken. He built this enterprise, and Dave is now running it. This enterprise and others like it, Ken has built, employs a lot of people, creates good jobs here in the United States of America. Ken, for your entrepreneurship and the work that you do here, we express appreciation. Thank you to you and a lot of people like you. Thank you. Thank you also to Brad for leading us with the Pledge of Allegiance. Best of luck to him in his election. We got to get that man elected and put into Washington, D.C. And a special thanks to Rob Portman and Governor Kasich. Senator Portman and Governor Kasich, good friends of mine, who are in a significant measure responsible for the fact that I won the primary in Ohio. And had that not happened, I might not be the nominee. So to Rob Portman and John Kasich, thank you very much. Great leaders. I express great appreciation for them. Now, you may have heard that President Obama is on the other side of the state, and he's going to be delivering a speech on the economy. He's doing that because he hasn't delivered a recovery for the economy. And he's going to be a person of eloquence as he describes his plans for making the economy better. But don't forget, he's been president for 3.5 years. And talk is cheap. Action speaks very loud. And if you want to see the results of his economic policies, look around Ohio, look around the country, and you'll see that a lot of people are hurting. A lot of people have had some real tough times. And the policies the president put in place did not make America create more jobs. As a matter of fact, he made it harder for America to create more jobs. Now, when he was recently elected, he went on the Today Show. And he was asked about what he'd do, how he'd measure his success. He said, look, if I can't turn the economy around in 3 years, I'll be looking at a one-term proposition. And he's right. He is looking at a one-term proposition. He's going to be saying today that he wants 4 more years. He may have forgotten he talked about a one-term proposition if he couldn't get the economy turned around in 3 years. But we're going to hold him to his word. Now, I know that he will have all sorts of excuses, and he'll have all sorts of ideas he'll describe about how he'll make things better. But what he says and what he does are not always the exact same thing. And so if people want to know how his economic policies have worked and how they performed, why, they can talk to their neighbor and ask whether things are better. They can talk to the 50% of college kids graduating from college this year that can't find a job. They can talk to the people who represent the unemployed. The president said that if we let him borrow $787 billion for a stimulus, he'd keep unemployment below 8% nationally. We've now gone 40 straight months with unemployment above 8%. But then he'll say, well, but the things he's been doing have been good and helped create growth and put people back to work. Oh, really? Go check on that. Go to small employers or big employers that you know in your community. Talk to people like Ken or Dave. Talk to other employers in this room. Talk to people you know that run a retail store or a small manufacturer and say, did President Obama's policies help put people back to work? Or did they make it less likely for you to hire people? And I have a prediction to make, because I've been doing that all over the country and talking to small employers and big employers, and I hear day in and day out, they feel this administration sees them as their enemy. They feel that the Obama policies have made it harder for them to put people back to work. Almost everything the president has done has made it harder for entrepreneurs to start a business, has made it less likely for businesses like this to be able to hire more people. And again, go ask business people. You can do your own survey. Anybody out there who doesn't know how to vote, doesn't know who can do a better job getting this economy going, can go talk to the people. Talk to the people in business that do the hiring. Talk to the employees that want to be hired and ask them, did the president's policies make things better or worse for getting jobs? Let's just go through them one by one. That stimulus didn't work. That stimulus didn't put more private sector people to work. How about Obamacare? The president said the other day that he didn't know that Obamacare was hard for small business. Oh, really? The Chamber of Commerce carried out a survey, some 1,500 businesses across America. 75% of those people surveyed said Obamacare made it less likely for them to hire people. Think of that. Then there was this financial regulatory reform, Dodd-Frank. You got some bankers. Everybody goes to a bank from time to time. Go to your credit union or bank and ask them, did Dodd-Frank help you out? Did it make it more likely for you as a bank to be able to renegotiate loans with small businesses or help people with their mortgages? Did it make it easier for you to make new loans? Or did Dodd-Frank make it harder for you in the banking business? Did it make you pull back? And what you're going to hear is that small business was not helped by Dodd-Frank, and small banks and community banks weren't helped to make loans because of Dodd-Frank. Then there were the president's energy policies. Now, I know today he's going to talk all about how he's going to really give a boost to energy. But talk to the people in the coal industry and ask whether his regulations have helped them mine coal. And what they'll tell you is on almost every front, he's made it harder to get coal from the ground and made it less likely for people to be able to use it. As a matter of fact, as a candidate, he said that if you build a coal-fired plant, you'll go bankrupt if his policies are implemented. So we're not taking advantage of the coal we could. How about gas? Go talk to the people in the natural gas world and ask them what it's like under the Obama administration. They'll tell you that the administration has tried to push itself in to regulate the production of natural gas in such a way that it's less reliable and harder to use our gas. Talk to the oil people. They'll tell you that he put a moratorium on drilling in the Gulf. Can't drill in Anwar. Aren't drilling in the Outer Continental Shelf off of Virginia. On all three of those resources that we have in abundance, this is a president that's made it harder for us to create jobs there and to get low-cost energy to manufacturers like this one. And there's one more. You don't need to ask people about this one. You already know the answer. Did he get that pipeline in from Canada? No, I can guarantee you if I'm president on day one, we're going to get the approval from that pipeline from Canada, and if I have to build it myself to get it here, I'll get that oil into America. One of the things Ken spoke to you about briefly, and he's actually been to Washington to testify about, is the fact that trade is good. Of the business people I met with just a few minutes ago, a number of them said that their business relies pretty substantially on selling products to other nations. It's good for us to be able to trade with other nations. It creates jobs here. I happen to think there are enormous opportunities in places like Latin America, a huge market area so close to us, where we have natural competitive advantages. And some of these businesses are taking advantage of that. Now, China and the nations of the European Union over the last 3.5 years have made real inroads in Latin America and other places of the world with trade agreements and negotiated trade agreements. 44 different trade agreements being negotiated by China and European nations with other nations around the world. Guess how many trade agreements our presidents negotiated? None. None. And then, of course, to the ones that we have. Now and then people sign agreements, but then they don't live up to them. I heard today about a number of circumstances where our friends in China, who are important trading partners and hopefully will be on the same page as us on trading matters, but nonetheless, they seem to have a penchant for stealing intellectual property, counterfeiting our goods, stealing our technology, our brand names, our trademarks, our know-how. That kills American jobs. Every now and then you hear presidential candidates talk about how they're going to crack down on it. Well, on day one, I'll label China a currency manipulator, and that will allow me to apply tariffs where they steal our intellectual property and kill jobs.
All right, lots of criticism for the President of the United States by a Republican challenger, Mitt Romney, there in Cincinnati. Romney says on the president that he hasn't delivered a recovery for the economy, acknowledging that the president is going to be about 250 miles away delivering his speech and his outlook for the economy there in the battleground state of Ohio. Romney claiming that the president hasn't done enough in 3.5 years, and he's challenging the president to take to the small business owners and to talk to them to see if the president has made it any easier for them in the past 3.5 years. And, of course, in Cleveland, we'll be bringing you the president's comments and his outlook on the economy as soon as he enters that room there at the Cuyahoga Community College. And when that happens, you'll see it as we do. All right, meantime, more signs today that the job market doesn't have much hope on the horizon. We'll get a report.